What if one simple drawing could hold the secret of who you truly are, not just as a person, but as a reflection of the entire universe? There are some images that quietly shake us. We see them once, and they stay with us, not because they are loud or complex, but because something about them feels important, like they're trying to tell us something we don't yet understand. The Vitruvian Man is one of those images. It seems simple at first. A naked man with his arms and legs stretched out, drawn in faded ink on old paper. His body appears to be in two positions at once. Around him are two perfect shapes, a square and a circle. That's all it is. And yet, when we look at it, something stirs, something deeper, something mysterious. It's as if the drawing is whispering a hidden message, just waiting for someone to listen. Leonardo da Vinci, the man who created it, was not just an artist. He was a man who saw the invisible connections between all things, between art and science, body and soul, numbers and beauty, earth and the heavens. The Vitruvian Man was never meant to be just a sketch of human anatomy. It was his way of telling the world that the truth of everything lies within us, that the human body, in its proportions and form, carries a secret message about the design of the entire cosmos. To understand that message, we have to journey back in time, far beyond Leonardo's Renaissance world. We must go all the way back to ancient Rome, to the 1st century BC, where a man named Marcus Vitruvius Pollio lived. Vitruvius was an architect, but also a philosopher. He believed that buildings weren't truly beautiful unless they followed the natural proportions of the human body. In his famous book De Architectura, he explained that nature had built the human form according to exact, harmonious laws, and that if architects used those same proportions in their work, the result would be perfect, balanced, and aligned with the universe. Vitruvius believed that beauty was not just a matter of taste, it was a matter of truth, and the source of that truth was the body, not because it was beautiful on the surface, but because its structure revealed the same math and harmony that guided the stars above. Every part of the body, he said, is in proportion with every other part. This made the body a kind of divine map. And when temples and other buildings were designed using this map, they too became reflections of cosmic harmony. This idea, that humans are not separate from the universe but shaped by the same invisible rules, was shared by many ancient cultures. The Egyptians, the Greeks, and others believed that mathematics wasn't just for measuring things. It was the language of creation itself. Pythagoras said, "Everything is number," and taught that the harmony of the universe could be described with simple mathematical relationships. That belief guided the construction of the pyramids. It shaped Greek art and architecture. It influenced music, astronomy, and even spiritual thought. It was everywhere. When Leonardo da Vinci discovered Vitruvius's writings, he was fascinated. He saw that the idea of using the human body as a model for understanding the universe wasn't just clever, it was profound. If the body held within it the same harmony as the stars, then it wasn't just flesh and blood. It was a symbol, a mirror, a key to something far bigger than itself. And so, Leonardo created his own visual version of Vitruvius's idea. But he didn't just copy it. He transformed it into something timeless. He drew a man inside a square and a circle. Not one shape or the other, but both. And this is where the meaning becomes deeper. In many spiritual traditions, the square stands for earth, the physical world, the logical, the structured, the measurable. It represents reason, form, and stability. The circle, by contrast, stands for the heavens, the infinite, the soul, the spiritual, the divine. It has no edges, no end. It represents unity, mystery, and the eternal. By placing a man inside both shapes, Leonardo was saying something powerful without words. The human being is not just physical or just spiritual. We are both. We are the bridge between earth and sky, between logic and wonder, between the known and the infinite. This idea was not new, but Leonardo expressed it in a way that still speaks to us today. In ancient Hermetic teachings, there is a phrase, as above, so below. It means that the human and the universe reflect each other. Whatever is true up there, in the stars and heavens, is also true inside of us. Leonardo believed this. He didn't divide science from spirituality. He saw both as paths to truth, and the Vitruvian man became his way of showing that truth with beauty and clarity. There's another detail that's easy to miss, but it's just as important. The man's arms and legs are shown twice, in slightly different positions. He seems to be moving, yet he's still. He's in two states at once. This was not a mistake. Leonardo wanted to show something deeper, that the human being is not fixed. We are not frozen in one state. We are constantly changing, growing, shifting. We are always becoming more than we were before. In spiritual traditions, this idea is known as transmutation, the idea that we are not finished, that we are always in the process of transformation. Leonardo's drawing shows this visually. The overlapping limbs represent potential, possibility, the truth that within every person lies more than one version of who we are. We are not just one identity. We carry our past, our present, and our becoming all at once. And just like the universe is always expanding, so are we. The Vitruvian man is more than a technical study of body measurements. It is a quiet, powerful reminder of what it means to be human. It tells us that we are not separate from the world around us. We are made of it. The same laws that shape the galaxies are written into our bones and skin. We are not just physical beings. We are spiritual reflections of something much greater. We are the meeting point of the material and the divine, the balance between square and circle, the harmony between what we see and what we feel. Leonardo da Vinci gave us more than a drawing. He gave us a message, one that speaks across centuries, a message that says, look within yourself and you will see the universe. You are not small. You are not separate. You are made of something sacred, and you carry within you the same patterns that shape all of creation. The Vitruvian man is not just about what the body looks like. It's about what it means to be alive, to be in motion, to be both flesh and spirit, logic and mystery, square and circle. And so, the next time you look at that drawing, don't just see a man on paper. See the reflection of who you truly are and who you are still becoming. The idea of transformation has always been one of the deepest truths across time. In the ancient practice of alchemy, transformation wasn't just about turning metals like lead into gold. It was about turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. It was about changing ignorance into wisdom, darkness into light, confusion into clarity, and the human being into something divine. Alchemists believed that everything in life was constantly moving, constantly evolving. Nothing was meant to stay the same forever. This same idea was deeply important to Leonardo da Vinci. He studied the teachings of alchemists and was fascinated by their belief that perfection could be reached not through stillness, but through change. This belief in evolution and growth wasn't something he only thought about. It became the foundation for some of his greatest works, including one of his most famous drawings, the Vitruvian Man. In this drawing, there is a man standing inside two shapes, a square and a circle. These aren't just shapes for decoration. They carry deep meaning. The man inside the square represents the physical part of being human. He is the body, bound by gravity and time, limited by flesh and form. This is the part of us that eats, sleeps, breathes, and ages. The square represents the earth, the material world, and the systems that define our physical experience. But the man inside the circle represents something much greater. He stands for the soul, the spirit, the part of us that doesn't die, the part that dreams and loves and imagines, the part that remembers where it came from and longs to return to it. The circle is a symbol of eternity, infinity, and the divine. It represents wholeness, the eternal flow of life, and something that goes beyond what the eyes can see. The difference between the two men in the drawing may seem small, but it is filled with meaning. The man's limbs in the square and circle are spread differently, showing that movement is happening. It is not a static image. The body shifts. The arms and legs open wider, almost as if the man is lifting himself toward the heavens, reaching beyond the body, beyond limitation. This subtle change shows us that the human being is not just a physical creature, but a spiritual one in transformation. The Vitruvian Man isn't a picture of someone already perfect. It is a picture of someone who is becoming, someone who is in the middle of change, someone growing into something more than they were before. Leonardo da Vinci was not only an artist, he was also a scientist, an inventor, and a thinker far ahead of his time. He studied the human body with intense curiosity, looking deeper than anyone had before. He didn't just want to know what the body looked like. He wanted to understand how it worked, how it moved, how it lived. He knew the body wasn't just a machine with parts, but a living, breathing system capable of adapting, changing, and evolving. He understood that the body had intelligence. He saw it not just as skin and bones, but as something filled with energy, purpose, and possibility. This view wasn't limited to the West. In Eastern traditions like yoga and tantra, the body is also seen as something sacred, a vehicle for awakening. In these teachings, there is a belief in a powerful energy called Kundalini that sleeps at the base of the spine. When a person goes through spiritual awakening, this energy rises up through the body, through energy centers called chakras, transforming them step by step into a higher version of themselves. This rising energy brings clarity, insight, love, and a sense of oneness with the divine. Da Vinci's drawing, though created in a different time and culture, echoes this same idea, that the human being is made to evolve from within, not just in mind, but in soul and body too. So the Vitruvian Man is not a drawing of a man standing still. It is a symbol of transformation in action. It shows that we are not here to remain unchanged. We are here to grow, to rise, to stretch beyond the limits of what we were told is possible. We are here to become a bridge between the material world and the divine. And that bridge is never fixed. It moves, breathes, and lives. Every step we take toward healing, every lesson we learn, every moment of self-discovery is part of this ongoing transformation. Leonardo da Vinci's search for truth didn't stop at anatomy or mechanics. He believed that truth lived where science, art, and spirituality met. He was one of the first thinkers in the West to try to connect technical knowledge with philosophy and the deeper questions of existence. The Vitruvian Man is proof of this. Even though he never used words like energy field or chakra, his writings show he was already thinking in this direction. He studied how blood moves through the body, how muscles react to motion, how breath and movement create harmony. His notes suggest he knew the human body was not just a mechanical structure, it was also an energetic system. And centuries later, science would discover exactly that. Modern research into bioelectricity has shown that the brain and heart communicate through tiny electric signals. The body is filled with electric currents that affect how we feel, think, and move. This matches ancient Eastern ideas, which teach that energy flows through channels in the body called meridians or nadis. What modern science and ancient wisdom both say is that the human body is alive with energy that shapes our experience of life. There is another layer of meaning in the drawing that many people miss. In various spiritual teachings, like Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, and esoteric Christianity, there is the idea that the human body is more than just a body. It is a temple. It is a mirror of the universe. This is the idea of the microcosm, the belief that the human being contains within them the same laws and patterns that govern the stars and planets. That's why many cathedrals were built using the same golden ratio that Da Vinci used in his drawing. These buildings were made to reflect divine order. They were meant to remind people that the structure of the universe was not outside them, but also within them. Da Vinci saw this too. He believed that beauty wasn't just skin deep. True beauty was spiritual. It was harmony between the human and the divine. Some people believe Da Vinci's drawing is also connected to ancient secret teachings. Mystery schools like the Rosicrucians and Freemasons taught that the human being is not finished. We are born with potential, and our journey is to awaken that potential through balance and inner work. These teachings speak of the human as being made of two parts, an earthly nature and a divine spark. The Vitruvian Man reflects this idea. The dual postures, the overlapping forms, the man inside both square and circle, they all suggest a being who is expanding in awareness, someone who is moving from limitation to freedom, from body to spirit. This is the journey of awakening, and this mirrors the way Leonardo lived his life. He was never satisfied with easy answers. He kept learning, kept exploring, and kept asking deeper questions. He lived in a constant state of self-growth and personal discovery. There is even more hidden meaning in the drawing. The square and the circle are not just shapes. They are ancient symbols. Centuries later, the famous psychologist Carl Jung would study these shapes as part of his work on the collective unconscious. He believed the square stood for structure, logic, and stability, while the circle represented wholeness, unity, and the infinite. When someone stands inside both shapes, It means they are balancing both the material and the spiritual. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming your true self. To be whole, you must bring together every part of yourself, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. That is what Da Vinci may have been showing, long before the word individuation was ever used. And perhaps the most breathtaking discovery came much later. Scientists who studied nature closely realized that the measurements and angles in Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man are not just about humans. They are also found all throughout nature. These same ratios and patterns appear in the way trees branch, in the spiral of seashells, in the way flowers bloom, and even in the orbits of planets. It's as if Da Vinci wasn't just drawing a man. He was drawing the pattern of life itself. He was showing that human beings are not separate from nature. We are part of it. We carry the same code that runs through every leaf, every wave, every star. And that code is not random. It is filled with purpose. It is a reminder that life is not chaos. It is sacred order in motion. The Vitruvian Man is not just a piece of art. It is not just a drawing about anatomy or geometry. It is a message, a symbol, a key. It reminds us that we are not here to live small, to stay the same, or to forget who we are. We are part of something much bigger than we can see. Something ancient, intelligent, and divine lives inside us and all around us. The drawing points to something that can't be fully explained in words, something we must feel, remember, and discover for ourselves. Leonardo da Vinci never left a clear written explanation of what his drawing meant. But maybe that was the point. Maybe his greatest message was this: the truth is not just in books, drawings, or theories. The real truth is inside you. You are not just a body. You are not just a soul. You are both. You are a bridge between earth and heaven. You are a living mystery. And your purpose is not to remain still. It is to keep growing, to keep rising, and to keep becoming who you were always meant to be.